We're going live. Thank you very much for coming, Baba Trini Nirhari. Lila Manjari, I'm not sure. Somebody wrote me recently saying they were my god sister. I'm not sure. I can't
Hare,
see everyone. Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhuji. I'm a devotee of Sri Bhaktiragava Swami Maharaj.
Okay.
I'm
All
in
right.
Montreal.
Ah oui,
Yeah.
je connais, je comprends. Vous êtes français.
Oui, exact.
You're not French, just your background is that. And Via is here from Montreal. That's great. Mr. Moorpark, thank you for coming. Do you have any other name other than Mr. Moorpark? Be nice to know who you are. My dear godbrother Vishwakarma Prabhu is here, longtime temple president and Sankirtan leader in Canada, in Toronto. So that's so happy to have you. Someone's got some echoing going on. I don't know who that is. Okay, so let's begin. Longtime temple president. Okay, we'll shut that off. Shut this off. Um, zoom in. Zoom in. Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhana Videvi Dayitaya Kripadaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhave Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das, another name of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, who is favored by Srimati Radharani, and who is the ocean of transcendental mercy and the deliverer of the science of Krishna. So I've chosen two Appearance Day lectures by Srila Prabhupada on the appearance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. One is February 11th, 1974 in Vrindavan. And I've also pulled up the beautiful poem that Srila Prabhupada wrote for the appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, which I'd like to sing later at the end. And I also have that movie, The Universal Teacher, but it's over an hour long. I have that pulled up as well. Um, I'm very grateful for everyone that's come to attend tonight and make Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur um, increase our consciousness of his great contribution to spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. So, generally, what we do is we read two paragraphs each, and at a later point, we can stop for comments and questions. I'm just going to get a pen right now. So, in case while we're reading, if something jumps out for me that I'd like to ask a question about or make a comment about, I'm going to do that later. That way, we can get more reading done than if we stop too often. So, does everyone see the screen pretty good? Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And is that an okay font for everyone? Can you read this size or do I need to make it bigger?
Could you make it bigger?
Okay, sure. Um, Let me
I'm
know.
I'm
Yes.
on my phone. Did that get rid of the noise?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay.
No noise at all. Okay. How's that? Is that a good size?
Yes.
So after the Prem Dhvani prayers, um, Srila Prabhupada says, so all these garlands, the Vaishnav who has come, garland them, Hare Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada's godbrother begins speaking. Most revered Prabhupada, my brother and sisters of ISKCON and devotees, it is not it is not merely an act of formality that I rise to speak on this occasion, the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. It is a day of great importance to me, as with everybody else who has come here today to celebrate this function. I do not know how to explain the importance of this day. Should I say that on this day was laid the very foundation for the beautiful mansion of ISKCON, which Prabhupada is building, and which promises to be the Taj, so to say, of the spiritual world, the greatest wonder of the spiritual world. So, yeah, Dr. Kapoor here, I think his initiated name is Adi Keshava. He's glorifying Prabhupada's building of the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Should I say that on this day I fell a seed from the spiritual tree of Krishna Prem, which was sown by Madhavendra Puri, and of which the trunk was Sriman Mahaprabhu, and the branches were Advaita Charya, Nityananda Prabhu, Rup Sanatan, and those. A seed fell from this tree on this day in the form of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj. It is sprouted in the form of Gaudiya Mission, and it is now growing in the form of ISKCON. And I hope you will continue to grow until the prophecy of Mahaprabhu is fulfilled. The prophecy, the teachings of Mahaprabhu will be carried to every nook and corner of the world. So everyone appears to me on my screen in a certain order. And next is Vishwakarma Prabhu. Would you like to read two paragraphs, Prabhu?
But I should like to express the importance of this day in a different way, which is more dear to doesn't seem to be.
You just have to make that smaller in the top right corner. There's four different views you can have, and you can. I don't. Do you see how that you can adjust that view so that it doesn't stand in the way of the writing?
Yeah, I don't see it.
If you click on it,
Oh, okay.
you
No,
see, or you can just move it
I'm trying to.
with your cursor.
Yeah, it's not moving. It's sort of stationary here.
Can anyone?
I got it. I got it.
Yeah, you got it. Okay.
Oh no, it didn't. It disappeared again.
A little tricky at first.
Yeah, it's because the font was expanded on my screen. I can't read
Oh,
it. If you could just manipulate
oh.
the font a
Well,
bit,
make it a little bit smaller. How's that?
a
Does that
little bit
help?
more.
Okay. All right. How's that?
Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can. Here we go. But I should like to express the importance of this day in a different way, which is more dear to me. I should like to say that on this day was born a great spiritual scientist, a great spiritual alchemist who worked wonders with the science of spiritual alchemy. You know the science of alchemy changes base metals into gold and silver. Now, the spiritual alchemist had a wonderful power of changing baser men into superior men, of changing sinners into saints, of changing non-believers into believers, non-Vaishnavas into Vaishnavas. And when I say this, I speak of my personal experience. Should I tell you that I was a very different man? Some 45 years ago, I was I shouldn't say non-believer. Is this the doctor speaking?
Yes. Is that all right?
Well, it's fine. I mean, it's a conversation. I'm not here.
We can go directly to Prabhupada's words if you prefer.
I don't have any interest in him, really. Should I tell you that a very different man, some 44, I was, as a student of philosophy.
Sorry, I wasn't sure whether you want to continue with this or go directly to Prabhupada's words.
Whatever your choice, you're conducting the meeting. Probably. I don't want to.
No, but I want to honor you as well. We can go. It's up to you, Prabhu.
We can go. Let's keep reading, I guess. A firm belief is so much on this fellow talking. Should I tell you that I was a very different man some 45 years ago? A rank, I shouldn't say non-believer, but I was a rank Mayavadi. A firm believer in the doctor of Advaitism, a student of philosophy, and as a favorite student of Dr. Reddy, the head of the philosophy department of Allahabad University. I'd come to believe that there was no philosophy on the face of earth higher than the philosophy of Advaitism, the philosophy of Mayavada, and there was no superior end to the end of attainment of Nirvikul Samadhi, in which one realizes one's complete identity with Brahma. This was my firm belief, and it was impossible to dislodge me from it. But you know, and you'll not believe what happened one day when I first met Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj, at Allahabad at the house of one Mr. Day. Sometime in the month of August 31, as I went to see him, he stared into my eyes and seemed to be looking deep into me, and appeared that he had discovered something that nobody had discovered. Can you scroll down, please? He had discovered the ghost in me, the ghost of Mayavada, which had possessed me. And once you see, he started his alchemy. It was a long and passionate discourse, which continued for about an hour and a half. I listened to him spellbound. It was magic. I was charmed. And as the words were coming from his mouth, I felt they were cracking the innermost, penetrating the innermost recesses of my heart. And we were working a wonderful change in me. Okay.
Let's see who's next. Bhavatrini, and is Nirhari also available this evening?
He's not feeling well. He's just
Okay.
listening.
Please continue. And then Leela Manjari after you.
There was a strange ring in his words. There was a magic in it. The words seemed to be rousing me from my dogmatic slumber of Mayavada. I seemed to wake up and see a new light. There was a great commotion in me, you see. All my old beliefs seemed to be dashed into pieces. The strongest arguments on which the edifice Mayavada is raised seemed to have been cut into pieces by the sharp arguments of Prabhupada. And it appeared to me that the edifice of Mayavad, which had stood like a temple in my heart, was crumbling. Pillar after pillar was falling. And I saw that in very little time, it was reduced into ashes. There was, as I said, a great commotion in me, a great storm. Old beliefs and new, a tussle went on. And this went on for a very long time. It went on for about a year. And during this period, I followed Prabhupada wherever he went. I went with him from Allahabad to Benares, from Benares to Calcutta, from Calcutta to Darjeeling, from Darjeeling back to Calcutta, and then to Allahabad. And then finally, I came along with him here, Vrindavan. That tussle which had been going on in my mind, that storm which was raging, had to subside, and it did subside, and peace and calm was restored in my mind. But the peace that was restored, the calm that was restored, was not the calm of Mayavada, the still and barren calm of Mayavada, but the delightful and peaceful calm of bhakti. I was now a changed man. I was inclined to bhakti. I was inclined toward Vaishnavism. And so one day in the Radhakund, perhaps in the month of Kartik, on the day of Purnamasi, I was duly initiated by Srila Prabhupada. So I say that this is a great day of great importance to me because it has completely changed my life. I was just an insect of the grain. Prabhupada picked me up and made me a different man altogether. Now Prabhupada is no more. But should I say that Prabhupada is no more when Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj is with us? I believe that Prabhupada is functioning through him. He is also a great alchemist. He is also working in wonders. What my Prabhupada did to me, he is doing to millions and millions of people all over the world. And it will not be an exaggeration if I say that the indomitable spirit with which he is working, the crown of success which he wears, leave no doubt that Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj is the true successor of Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj, so that we may say on this day of the appearance of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, that although Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj has disappeared, he lives in Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. And so Prabhupada has disappeared, and yet he is alive and active, and long, long live Prabhupada.
Jai.
Jai.
Very nice glorification of our Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
Leela Manjari, would you like to read?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. So can you please put a little bit more bigger?
A little bit bigger.
Please?
Okay.
Yeah, please.
All right. How's that?
Yeah, it's better.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. That just I just focus my loop. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Prabhupada. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my spiritual master appearance anniversary day. So, as Dr. Kapoor has explained to you that Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur changed his life, similarly, my life was also changed by his great saintly person. I was inclined to nationalist movement, follower of Mahatma Gandhi. So in 1922, at that time, I was manager in Dr. Booth's laboratory. I was a young man, and just 3 or 4 years before, I was married and I got a son also. But one of my friends, Monsieur Moulik, he's no more existing. He informed me that one sadhu has come to Calcutta, Gaudiya Mata Sadhu. So will you like to see him? At that time, I was nationalist and I had no very good experience, so I denied. Oh, I have seen so many swamis. What is the use of going there, wasting time? But he insisted and took me to Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. And immediately after seeing us, he changed my life. He immediately said that you are all educated young men. Why don't you preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western world? I said, who will hear your cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? You are a dependent nation, and who will hear? First of all, you must have independence. Because I was inclined to independence movement, I left my education career in 1920, joined this movement. So he argued and he defeated me, and there was long talk. Then after coming down on the street, my friend, Monsieur Moulik, asked me, what do you think of this sadhu? So I appreciate, I said. Yes, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cult is in the hand of an able personality. Now it will be spread all over the world, I think. Then I was
Via, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Then I was transferred from Calcutta to Allahabad for business concern. But I was always thinking of this sadhu. I am giving a short history, but my life was changed. Of course, I was born in a Vaishnava family. Chaitanya cult was my life and soul. But due to education and bad association or the modern association, I was declined. Now this Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur again revived my consciousness. In this way, in 1933, I became regularly a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. And then in 1936, before his passing away, I wrote one letter to my Guru Maharaj that you have got many disciples. They are giving you direct service. They are very fortunate. But I am a Grihastha, so I could not do anything for you. So if you kindly order me something to do, then I can try for it. So again, he said the same thing, that whatever you have learned from us, try to preach in English.
Thank you, Via.
And then I started this Back to Godhead magazine in 1944. On this very birthday of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and I was looking forward for the opportunity how to implement this order of my Guru Maharaj. Then in 1965, before that, I was translating Bhagavatam. And when 3 books were published, then I prepared myself to go to America single-handed, not for getting any material reputation, but simply to try, because I knew my Guru Maharaj was very, very anxious to preach this cult. So when I saw that there were my big God brothers, I cannot say that they could not do anything. At least there was any tangible result. Then at the age of 70 years, I thought, let me try if I can do something. So I left India in 1965 and went to New York thinking, what shall I do? I do not know what poor Krishna has brought me in this place without any friend, without any money. I had only 40 rupees with me and a return ticket in the Scindia navigation companies. So for 2, 3 months, 6 months, there was no response. I was simply maintaining myself by selling my books. But these young boys, American boys, gradually they joined me in 1966. I was chanting in a park. What is that? Tompkinson 6 Square. Yes. Prabhupada said, yes. And these boys gradually they came and joined and danced with me. Then the New York Times, they published, first of all, I think of Brahmananda Bruce and our Ashutananda, that what is Bernard. Do I keep going?
Vani, or I'm just going to check with Vani and Pradyumna to see if they're available to read or not, because sometimes devotees are only able to listen. Vani, it's your turn next. Are you able to read?
I would prefer to just listen. I'm multitasking at the time.
That's fine. Pradyumna Prabhu, are you able to read or you're busy?
Where are we? Charles?
Prabhupada, Charles, yes.
They were dancing first hand to hand. Then this news was spread very nicely. One paper voice they printed that we understood that God is dead. But now I see the reporter said that Swami Bhaktisiddhanta has brought back God in his Sankirtan. With this remark, we gradually developed, and next branch was established in San Francisco, first in New York, then in Canada, Montreal, and Boston. Here is my old student is present, Satswarup Maharaj. This boy was very enthusiastic from the very beginning. So by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and my Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we have made a ground at least. we have got now 100 branches all over the world, and especially in Europe and America, Australia and Japan, everywhere from Scandinavia down to Melbourne, north and south, and all over the world. So these boys are now present here. They have learned how to chant, how to dance, and how to offer artik to the deity. We have got Radha Krishna, Jagannath deity in all our temples, besides Guru Gauranga. So it was the desire of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. So although my kind godbrothers like Dr. Kapoor has said that I am doing wonderfully, actually, I do not know any magic art to do this wonderful, but I am just trying to follow the footsteps of my Guru Maharaj, that's all. But in the Shastras we see.
Thank you very much. Okay, you can quote this verse if you like.
Yasya Devi Para Bhaktir Yata Devi Tatsa Gurao Tasyaite Katita Hyarta Prakashante Mahatmanaha. So I can speak you frankly that I have no assets except that I wanted to please my Guru Maharaj, that's all. That little strength, whatever success I've got, it is due to his blessing. Similarly, the Shastra is also there. If we follow actually the order as it's described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that the order of my Guru Maharaj is my life and soul, Jivatma, as he mentioned. So in this way, if we try to follow our Acharya, bona fide Acharya.
Okay, I just want to check with Mr. Moorpark. Are you able to read, Mr. Moorpark? This is the first time I think you're participating with us. If you have, I didn't notice in the past. Are you able to read, or you're just listening? Can you hear, Mr. Moorpark? Anybody there? Okay, well, we've all read once, and there's much more to read. But I just like to stop just for a second to reflect and begin with my senior godbrother, Vishwakarma Prabhu, and then Bhava Charini. Did anything jump out from you from the pages that we've read? And did anything stand out for you that you appreciated hearing? Vishwakarma Prabhu?
Were you asking me?
I'm just asking Vishwakarma first, and then over to you. Yes, go on, Vishwakarma.
The most important thing is to understand the principle of Guru Tattva. The meeting of a pure devotee, as Prabhupada described his meeting with Bhaktisiddhanta, was life-altering for him, because the spiritual master is the pure representative of Krishna. That the spiritual master has surrendered his senses to Krishna as master of the senses, of Rishikesha. When I first met Prabhupada in 1971 in Detroit, Michigan, when I took first initiation, we went to the airport, and I was Bhakta Bob from Hamilton. Just somehow or other, I fell into this opportunity to take up Krishna consciousness. I'm not even sure why it happened. But nonetheless, I was there in Detroit, and we all went to the airport. You can imagine back then how much excitement there was when Prabhupada was present amongst all of us. It was electrifying. And one thing I had realized before going to the airport was that Prabhupada had explained to us about the senses of the pure devotee become controlled by the senses by Krishna. So in other words, the devotee of the Lord, he no longer acts on his own behalf. He's only acting as an instrument in the hands of the Supreme Person. And so when we got to the airport, we were all assembled it was a corridor, like Prabhupada would come off the plane and we were all there. Everybody, there was all these devotees there. There was a lot of emotion. It was a transcendentally surcharged environment. And I got up to I was in the crowd and I thought, okay, I can't even look. I'm so unqualified. I can't even look at A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So I still remember hiding behind everybody thinking, this is, I guess that's the way it's going to be. And then I realized in my own mind at the time, I remember I was a young man, I think 21 or so. I thought to myself, this is ridiculous. I have to look. And the first thing I saw was Prabhupada taking a loda. I looked through, I peeked through between the devotees and I saw him and he had a loda. Now here in the West, we had never seen anyone drink with a loda. It was always with a cup.
Right.
And I thought to myself, gee, look at this. And he took the loda and he picked it up and he poured it, opened his mouth and poured the water down his throat like a stream of Ganges water flowing down into his body. And I was completely at that. I have to say honestly to all of you, I could see Krishna working through him. In other words, it wasn't him that was speaking. It wasn't that body that I was seeing. This was simply an instrument for Krishna to use in his service to spread the Sankirtan movement. This was Krishna consciousness. That Prabhupada was the pure devotee, the absolute transparent. The term is called transparent via media. Have you heard that before?
Yeah.
Transparent via media is the principle by which we understand disciplic succession. This being in the disciplic succession, Bhaktisiddhanta to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada, is a very rare opportunity for all of us.
Mm.
This is not some kind, guruship is not some kind of business, Prabhupada would say, for profit, adoration, and distinction. The guru is actually Uttama Adhikari. What does Uttama Adhikari mean? Uttama Adhikari means at the highest level of Krishna consciousness. And because he's situated on that pure platform of transcendence, then all of us, by his mercy, by his transcendental potency, can become eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. Just concluding, I wanted to say this. In 1976, I was in Toronto with Prabhupada. He had come to Toronto to the temple. Many pastimes with Prabhupada I would like to share, but I know we have limited time. But what happened was Prabhupada decided to go to Montreal. Now, we had just bought the Toronto temple, and I was very concerned on his behalf that we maintain the temple no matter what. So more important for me was, instead of getting on the car and driving to Montreal, because I have the sort of the privilege of going there, I decided to stay behind. Because Prabhupada had said it's more important to serve me in separation than personally. So there's two aspects, everyone, that we have to understand: Vani and Vapu. Most people, they thought the most important thing was Vapu. Oh, you have to have personal association. I know that one devotee, a Yojapati, he wanted to get Prabhupada's a personal association. And they came and requested him, oh, let him leave Toronto Temple. He was the cook at the time. And let him go with Prabhupada. I go, no. And then I told Prabhupada he can't go. And Prabhupada said, yes, that's okay. Because it was more important for us to serve our guru in separation than to follow him around on his plane and live the lifestyle of a guru traveling the world preaching the Sankirtan mission. Vani is what we're about, everyone. Our guru is still present with us. Our guru lives in sound. He who reasons ill, that thinks that Vaishnavas die. That is a mistake of the mental speculators. Those who think that Prabhupada is not living. That the only way to get initiation is to get initiation from a so-called living guru. But what is a living guru? A living guru is someone who lives in the transcendental presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which Prabhupada did. So on this appearance day of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, it is very important for us to understand that the most important thing is to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation. Nothing more, nothing less. And take shelter of the opportunity of his instructions. His instructions are very important. Nowadays, there's so much confusion that his movement, which was a glorious movement, you can see the pictures of the Toronto Temple in 1976 in front of Avenue Road Temple, where we had a big portrait of all of us there, packed with devotees. You remember, Gaura, how beautiful that was?
Yeah.
Prabhupada was there, and we were all celebrating his presence and the purchase of this magnificent building for him, which is now worth like $45 million. So Prabhupada was there with us personally. And we were loaded with devotees. There were devotees from Montreal, there were devotees. Now there's only, I was talking to Gaura earlier, in the whole of ISKCON Canada, there's only 20 devotees in all the temples. 20. After 55 years, somehow or other, the movement has extinguished itself in terms of people that are interested in participating in the Sankirtan mission. Even recently, Gaura went to Ottawa and they were chanting and they requested everybody to come and chant. And guess what? What did they say? Some members said, no, we can't go chant. For whatever reason, I'm not sure, but I don't need to get into that. But the point is this. Yeah, please.
I was going to
This
say,
is the
they said they did not want us to be affiliated with beer drinking, meat eating truckers protesting.
Okay, so I mean, let's put it this way. Anytime you go on the street, we would go on the street every day for years and years, every day, associating with beer drinkers, with prostitutes, with meat eaters, because that's the blessing of Lord Chaitanya upon the conditioned souls. It's nothing to do with associating with them. When we go out, we're not giving them they're not giving us association. We're giving them association. That is the Sankirtan mission. We are the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. We are delivering the message of Prabhupada to the conditioned souls. They're not delivering anything to us except their mass confusion. So the Sankirtan mission of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is something that we can all relish on this auspicious day of Bhaktisiddhanta, that we, who are insignificant, very insignificant beings, have an opportunity to take shelter of the pure devotee, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is the highest blessing that any of us can have. And this is what we should do in preparation for leaving this world. Always remember that Prabhupada is our shelter, no one else.
Thank you very much, Vishwa Karma Prabhu. Baba Tarini, you were listening from the beginning. Did anything jump out for you during the first part of our reading? We'll go to our second part in a moment. I just wanted to hear from you. Thank you for coming, Jivan. Thank you for coming, Ananda Patni and Rasangi. Yes.
Oh, I just was to hear Dr. Kapoor speak, and his glorification of Srila Prabhupada was so beautiful.
Mhm.
And then Srila Prabhupada continued how Bhaktisiddhanta was able to change the hearts of so many people.
I think your hand is over the camera. That's what we're looking at. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, how
I
Srila
think-
Bhaktisiddhanta was able to change the hearts of so many. Mhm.
And Srila Prabhupada said, oh, he was just, of course, we know Srila Prabhupada's Nitya Siddha, but he was saying, oh, I was a nationalist and I was not interested, but we spoke and he changed me. I was a changed man. I thought that was very wonderful.
Yes. I was thinking how Srila Prabhupada said that a Vaishnav is one who always glorifies the service of another Vaishnav and who always sees the serving side of another Vaishnav. And I was appreciating how Dr. Kapoor was seeing that in our Srila Prabhupada, and how he was saying that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is present today in our Srila Prabhupada, and how he's bringing Krishna consciousness to millions of people. It was very touching. I also liked that Prabhupada said that that our Srila Prabhupada started Back to Godhead magazine on this day, on the appearance day of Srila
That was-
Bhaktisiddhanta.
yeah.
And when I moved into the Chicago Temple in 1975, Christmas Marathon, the first service they gave me, besides cutting up subjis in the kitchen, is they put me out on State Street, this huge street in downtown Chicago, with a little ISKCON can and a bunch of candy canes and one box of BTG magazines, 175 in a box. And they told me, your service is to distribute all 175 magazines, and we'll come and pick you up at 8 o'clock at night. So that was just dropping me in the middle of a big downtown with a can and candy canes, and magically, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy and Krishna's grace, I was able to distribute one box of magazines every. I was amazed that I could do it. I didn't do it. Krishna was doing it, and then before I knew it, I was in a van with Mahamuni Prabhu, traveling all over America, with one box of BTGs to distribute every day. In those days, it only cost 25 cents each to distribute, so it wasn't so hard to get, to cover the cost of it. Now I think the price on the cover is $4 a magazine, so it's not the mass distribution magazine that it once was, but it's still going out there. I'd like to return to some reading because there's several devotees here. Jivan Mukta and Rasangi and Nandapatni didn't have a chance to read yet. And I see that Mr. Moorpark has transformed into Roddy Wabbit. So maybe this time around we may get him to read something. Okay, so let's see, just going down the line here of devotees to read. Rasangi, are you able to read, or are you busy with something else at home? And then Nandapatni. Oh no, Jivan Mukta I've got first.
I'll read in a
And
little
then
bit, a little bit, a little bit.
Uh-huh.
10 minutes.
Jivan Mukta, are you able to read?
No, Mother Rasangi.
You'll read in
Mother Rasangi
Okay.
is ready to read.
2 paragraphs? And then Jivan Mukta and then Nandapatni, is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're waiting for you, Rasangi. So
Oh,
I
I
can,
know, but I said I'll be ready to read in 10 minutes.
in 10
Oh.
minutes. Okay. Jivan Mukta, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, great.
So I can speak to you frankly that I have no asset except that I wanted to please my Guru Maharaj. That's all. That little strength, whatever success I have got, it is due to his blessing. Similarly, the Shastra is also there. If we follow actually the order as it is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that the order of the Guru Maharaj is my life and soul, Jivatma, he has mentioned. So in this way, if we try to follow our Acharya, bona fide Acharya, Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarshayo Vidhu, then to have bona fide Acharya means like this. That's all. Simply, you have to follow. So today is the auspicious day. Is this auspicious day? My disciples, I request you that I have tried to follow, and you also try to follow. There is great responsibility in your hands because you have to preach. I am now old man of 78 years. I do not expect to live many years more. But you simply follow the footsteps of the Acharya. Tadhera charana seva bhakta sane. Tadhera charana sebi bhakta sane bas. Janame janame hoy e abhilash. This is the secret of success. You have to follow the Goswamis. E chai gosai yara tara muidas. You have to follow this principle. E chai gosai yara tara muidas. Rupanuga virhuta apisiddhanta dantva harine. E chai rupa sanatana Goswami. If we desire to serve them, they are the Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam, Sri Rupa Pranam, these Goswamis. The Vrindavan Dham is discovered by the Goswamis. E chai gosai yara tara muidas. Don't deviate from the instruction. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Narottam Das Thakur said, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoi Be Akuti, Kabehama Bujhabhose Jugala Piriti. We should hanker after to understand what is that Jugala Piriti. Don't jump over. Don't jump over that. I have understood Radha Krishna Prema. No, it is not so easy, Radha Krishna Prema. To understand Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Radini Shaktir Asmad. This is not ordinary affair, dealing of a young boy and a young girl. It is the expansion of the Hladini Shakti of Sri Krishna. So in this way, in Vrindavan, if we want to understand, then Tadera Charana Seva Bhakti Sanivas, Janame Janame Hoye Abhilas. This should be the motto of life. Then you are success. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Jai, any comments from you, Jivan Mukta, on what you just read?
I was listening today. There was something on YouTube, a wonderful presentation on the life of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. And one of the things that was stressed, I don't think it was even a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, that composed that presentation. But one of the things which was touched upon here by Srila Prabhupada is that Bhaktisiddhanta was strongly against his disciples discussing Gopi Bhava and all that stuff. I mean, I don't mean to say that. I don't mean to say that disrespectfully, but it was surprising to hear how strongly Bhaktisiddhanta condemned the discussion of that. In fact, I found very interesting. Bhaktisiddhanta banned his disciples, or told his disciples not to read the Govinda Bhasya, the Ujjwala Nilamani, and there was another Govinda.
Maybe Govinda Lilamrita.
Yes, Govinda Lilamrita, but
Govinda
also
Bhasya's Bhagavad Gita.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, sorry. There was a Govinda. Oh geez, I forget. But anyway,
Gita Govinda?
Gita Govinda. Yes.
Govinda Lilamrita.
Yeah. But anyway, the point being that Bhaktisiddhanta actually forbade his disciples to read certain books. Do you know when we hear many disciples of Srila Prabhupada say, well, Prabhupada said we should read all of the Goswami's literature. Remember?
Right.
There's that, right?
Yeah.
But here we have Bhaktisiddhanta. We have Bhaktisiddhanta forbidding his disciples from reading certain books. Why? Because he did not want them to get totally caught up in, this contemplation of these higher, aspects of devotional service. That Bhaktisiddhanta did not like a public display in the least of that of the conjugal mood of service. He did not want that, and so Srila Prabhupada mentions this as well, in this talk. And it was the mood of Srila Prabhupada as well, not to really get into that, esoteric aspect of devotional service.
Do you have a question? Do you think that he meant that publicly or privately?
Privately, of course, is our relationship with Krishna. Privately, of course, like we can have that mood. That's not something that you can actually change anyway. It's just natural. It's just like, some devotees, just like, that devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Murari Gupta, was a devotee, a bhakta of Sri Ram. I mean, there's no way you were going to change him. Lord Chaitanya couldn't change him. Lord Chaitanya couldn't allure him. So it's just something which is intrinsic to the soul. It's like what you are. So you're not going to be able to change that. So yes, if it's kept with privately in your heart, that's one thing. But to come out and publicly display that, Bhaktisiddhanta was revolted. He is repulsed by any public display in that regard.
Thank you.
And I think that's really, really important for us to understand, because, it's easy for us to get confused by kind of stopping with Srila Prabhupada, and there's a lot of confusion that, did Prabhupada want us to do that? Didn't he? And did he not present that aspect of because we were just so fallen and neophyte? But we go one generation back. We go one generation back to Bhaktisiddhanta, and we see that Bhaktisiddhanta did not want any of his sannyasis, but you can go down the list of all of them. I mean, I don't know them all, but Sridhar Maharaj and Keshava Maharaj and so on and so on. He did not want any of them doing this.
Before we move on to the next appearance day glorification of Srila Prabhupada, there's a little, just to remind myself and everyone else, there's a little thing at the bottom of our Zoom called reactions. And if you click on that, then you can raise hand. And then that means that you would like to respond to what someone else has said. And then you can take it down. Does everyone see that? Do you see that, Vishwakarma Prabhu? It says reactions. Okay, good. Vishwakarma gets it. He's given us the...
I got it too.
Okay, so before we move on to the next section, did anyone want to respond?
I
Yes,
was going
I
to
do.
respond. Yeah, too.
Nandapatni, you'd like to respond. Okay, good. Yes?
We can't see you though, Nandapatni.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
Prefers to be a black box.
If you must.
I
If
did
you
not.
must.
Okay, better.
Love
better.
to.
Oh, what's happening? There it is. There it is. Peace and love. So, yeah, I was just thinking how Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, it seems that they were particularly fierce on those issues because there was a particular context at that time of massive
Sahajism.
corruption and Sahajiism, which had sort of taken over Sri Chaitanya's movement. So I just wanted to add that I understand everything Chief Amuk was saying, but also I do think there was a very specific context at that time. Anyway, that's all.
Thank you, Nandapatni. Any other hands going up here? Doesn't look like it. Okay, then we can move on if no one else has a comment to make on that. Okay, so
There's so much to say, but no use arguing. There's so much to say. I mean, I don't know what I'm reading some of these books and I'm enlivened and recommitting myself all the time. I mean, and how can you not share what's enlivening to you? So, I mean, I think we need to be careful for maybe new people, but we're not getting any younger and we don't have that much time left. So what are we going to wait for to dive in? You know what I mean?
To dive in.
I don't think Jivan Mukta was speaking against diving in. I think what he was addressing is that these very intimate topics are not they're not spoken in a big forum. Was that your point, Jivan Mukta?
No, my point is, we can argue, you're right. And we're going to argue back and forth, and there's going to be those who don't agree and those who agree. And that's the nature of the material world. But I'm saying from my perspective, when I see Bhaktisiddhanta, presenting to his disciples, who I could not even dream of approaching, the nails of their lotus feet. When I hear him being so strict, like a thunderbolt with them on this subject, I'm going to say, despite what was happening socially there, despite that, these are sannyasis. Clearly, they're not going to be affected by the bolas and the, all these sahajas. Like clearly, they're way beyond that. Yet, he was so strict. Why? Yeah, I do accept that there was a social milieu at the time where there's so many sahajas. Are we saying that we do not have sahajas amongst our Vaishnavas today? That there's no sahaja tendency? Are we saying that these devotees that are delving deeply into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are following all the regulative principles? And you think that there isn't a qualification of coming up to a certain standard in order for us to truly delve into that? These are just questions. So for me, like I said, Bhaktisiddhanta, let's take the context there as well. Bhaktisiddhanta is speaking to these very, very elevated sannyasi disciples of his.
And cautioning, of course, but and there's also the other, if you don't hear about Radha and Krishna and their pastimes like that, you'll never give up the material world. There's like that's a dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be able to hear and be attracted and to give it up down here. So it's a dilemma, but we don't need to continue. Baba Trini,
I'd like to say
go ahead.
Are you referring to the movie that's over an hour long that says Bhaktisiddhanta said, don't read these books? That's one of the people that okay. Can I finish saying what I'm saying? Then you can speak. So are you basing what you're saying now on this movie that you just saw?
Yes. Well, I'm just bringing it up because
No, are you basing everything on this movie that you just saw?
Yes.
Okay. So you are taking the word of a movie where they say Bhaktisiddhanta said not to read these books, but do you remember the pictures of the books they showed? One of them was our Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book.
No, it wasn't. No.
Yes, in that movie. We have that video. We first watched that video at the Saraswati Math in 1998 or 6 or something. Oh no, it was 2000. And we watched it with Srila Govinda Maharaj, and we were really surprised that he was one of the books, and it was done by Prabhupada's disciple, Nrsimha, who's left his body. He
Jagat
joined
Guru
with
Swami.
Siddhasrupananda. Yes, he joined with
Are,
Siddhasrupananda.
are we talking about the same movie? I'm just checking in.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Like
I think so.
Because I
Yeah.
don't remember seeing Prabhupada's Krishna book.
It's there. So you're just on one movie, you're saying that Bhaktisiddhanta said to all disciples, do not read these books. And that, but Srila Prabhupada said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, read some of the books that you just said don't read. So does that mean that Srila Prabhupada is disobeying Bhaktisiddhanta? Well, I think that you're speaking very strongly and making a big statement based on watching one video.
One of the sannyasis that was there is Tripurari.
And yeah,
Vishwakarma would like to reply. Is that okay?
of course.
Vishwakarma Prabhu.
Okay, let's be clear here. Exactly. Prabhupada was very specific about what books we should read. Okay, there's no confusion here. With all due respect to the comments that were made, especially for all of us as his disciples. If you consider yourself a disciple of A.C. Bhaktisiddhanta Swami, if you consider him a disciple, then you have to read his books exclusively. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. These books contain all the information that's necessary for neophytes like ourselves to become Krishna conscious. These other books that my godbrothers, there's some of them that read these books, they become enamored with the idea that they become great intellectuals or great philosophers. In fact, we all come from the same source of ignorance. We knew nothing. And without Prabhupada's mercy in the form of his books, as I mentioned earlier to all of us, in his Vani incarnation, all the information there is what we need to go back to home, back to Godhead, nothing more. And people that enter into these other books and try to study them and try to learn about them, they're walking on very dangerous territory.
Vasangi has her hand up.
Okay, so I mean, Prabhu, all respects to you and your opinion. And we have a kind of like an open forum here. We have some of us.
That is a mistake. Don't say that, Mataji.
Shiksha disciples.
That's terrible what you just said.
Shiksha disciples of Srila Narayana Maharaj. We have other people's, are disciples of other people. We have an open forum here.
Prabhupada, I said Prabhupada disciples. We do not associate with the God brothers of our spiritual master. I was sent a specific letter to me personally.
That's pretty heavy.
Do not associate with members of the Gaudiya Math.
I know that was like 60 or 70 years ago.
No,
probably.
I mean, 60, that was in 1975 when Ban Maharaj came to Toronto. I'm not going to discuss it. I'm telling you, do not associate with these people.
And you know what? Srila Narayana Maharaj is not a god brother. He's a Shiksha disciple of Srila Prabhupada. But just to make that point, he's not a Gaudiya Math god brother. But anyway, I'm just saying we're trying to keep it copacetic. We have great deep discussions. We have different viewpoints. Nobody dictates. They share their opinions and their ideas.
Dictation, Mataji. I'm telling you the truth. You can speculate on it all you want.
It's your.
That's not my opinion. Prabhupada sent me a letter specifically, which said, do not associate with my god brothers.
I know, then many things happened later. Many things happened later. Prabhupada begged forgiveness for any offenses. It was in the name of preaching. He criticized. So I'm familiar. I've been around since 73. So I know a lot. Bhavatini's been around before me. Nanda Patni, we're not newbies. We've been
I
around
didn't
and
say that. I
we're
didn't say
still
you
around.
were old. I'm telling you the truth.
I know this is what your understanding is, Prabhu, and we might have other understanding that's also valid. Just please, let's not make this a platform. We don't want to have that kind of.
Well, you're the one that brought it up, Mataji.
I know, but you're.
We're celebrating Prabhupada's relationship with Bhaktisiddhanta, and you were the one that brought up about Narayan Maharaj and the Gaudiya Math.
I'm just saying your statements sound a little too exclusive. We're an open group. I'm just saying.
It's
And
not we are a Prabhupada disciple group.
Well, not only you have new people here too that aren't disciples of Prabhupada. They have other gurus.
Become Prabhupada disciples.
So anyway, we want to keep coming, but if it's going to be arguing and narrow-minded, I won't come. I don't want to be insulted.
Don't come.
I don't want to be insulted.
We don't need you. I don't need your association, Mataji, at all.
Okay, all right. It's getting out of hand.
It's getting out there. Yeah, we got 25 minutes left to glorify Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Let's get back to the reading. Nanda Patni, you haven't had a chance to read yet. Would you like to? This is in Atlanta, March 2nd, 1975. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's appearance day. Please read.
Just want to wave a peacock fan around over that last conversation. Okay. Prabhupada. Auspicious day, hundreds of years ago. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta.
101.
101. I stand corrected. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. He appeared on this day. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is Gaura Shakti. Gaura Shakti means empowered. Empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted his mission to be broadcast. What does that sound? All over the world. He desired. Prithivitiyachi Nagaradi Gram. Savatra Prachara Haive Moranam. Prithiviti, all over the world. As many towns and villages are there. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted that his mission will be spread. This prediction was made by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally 500 years ago. So perhaps my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, attempted to fulfill the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And sometimes in the year 1918, he was a brahmachari, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his material father, he wanted Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Of course, everyone wanted, but he wrote one small book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Teachings and Precepts of Lord Chaitanya, in 1896. And he presented that book to McGill University in Canada. And he very much desired that the foreigners, especially Americans, would join his movement. That was his desire in 1896. And then in 1918, my Guru Maharaj started with this mission, one institution known as the Gaudiya Math. Perhaps some of you know the name Gaudiya Math. And he was trying to spread this message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by chance or by prediction, as you think, I was taken to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur by one of my friends. I didn't want to go there, but he forcibly took me there. Yes. And he ordered me that you preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English language. This is very much essential. On the first meeting, he told me like that. That was my first meeting with him. So at the time, I was in favor of the Gandhi's movement. And so I said that, quote, we're not independent, subjugated. Who will hear about our message? So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur refuted my argument and was very much pleased. I had so many talks, but I was very much pleased to be defeated that this so-called nationalism or any ism, they're all temporary. The real need is the self-realization.
Thank you. Rasangi, you haven't read yet. Would you like to read 2 paragraphs, please?
I will read. So I was convinced, but at that time, although he wanted me to immediately join him and spread this movement, so at that time I was a married man, young man. I was married in 1918, and I got a son also at that time, 1921. And in 1922, I met him. And at that time, I was a manager in a big chemical factory. So I thought, I am a married man. I have so many responsibilities. How can I join immediately? It is not my duty. Of course, that was my mistake. I should have joined immediately. Laughter. I should have taken the opportunity immediately, but Maya is there. So I thought like that. So there's a long history. Then in 1954, no, not 1954, 1968, when I was 54 years old, 1954. Yes, 1954. I was at that time 58 years old. So I left home and was living alone. Then 1958, I took sannyas. Then I decided to take responsibility of my Guru Maharaj. I thought my other godbrothers are trying, so I'm not capable to do it. They are better situated, but somehow or other they could not do very much. Appreciate activities in this connection. Appreciative activities. What? What did that say? They could not do very much. Appreciative activities in this connection. When I was 70 years old, I decided now I must do and execute the order of my Guru Maharaj. And thus this movement was started in 1965 from New York. And I was not very much hopeful because it is a very difficult task, just opposite the European and Western culture. When I first came, I had no money. So I got a free passage through some Indian steam navigation company. So I came by ship. So when I was on the ship at Boston Port, Commonwealth Port, I was thinking, I've come here. I do not know what is the purpose, because how will the people accept this movement? They are differently educated. And as soon as I'll say, so my dear sir, you have to give up meat eating and illicit sex and no intoxication and gambling, they will say, please go home. Laughter.
Because that
Please
was
go home.
because that Swami, go home. Because that was the experience of one and he had the opportunity to talk with one big man, Marquis of Zetland. Marquis of Zetland was formerly governor of Bengal. At that time, I was student. He was Scotsman, and I was student of the Scottish Churches College. So he came to see our college, and he was standing in front of me in the second year class. So he was very nice, good gentleman. So he proposed to my godbrother whether you can make me a Brahmin. So my godbrother proposed, yes, we can make anyone Brahmin, provided you follow this principle: no illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. So that Lord Zetland immediately replied, impossible. So I was thinking that I will propose something which is impossible. Anyway, let me try. Jai Haribo. Vishwakarma Prabhu, your turn. 2 paragraphs, please. Are you on mute?
So now by
Vishwakarma
the
Prabhu, would you
grace-
like to continue?
Sure. So now by the grace of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in the presence of my Guru Maharaj, you are so nice boys and girls. So in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you're chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and you're taking part in it very seriously. So my Guru Maharaj will be very much pleased upon you and bless you with all benefits. So he wanted this, and he is not, it is not that he's dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. Every ordinary living being, he does not die. Nahanyate hanyamani sarire. What to speak of such exalted, authorized personality like Bhaktisiddhanta. He is seeing. I never feel that I'm alone. Of course, when I came to your country without my friend, any friend, without any means, practically just like a vagabond I came, but in I had full faith that my Guru Maharaj is with me. I never lost this faith. And that is fact. There are two words, Vani and Vapu. Vani means words and Vapu means this physical body. So Vani is more important than Vapu. Vapu will be finished. This is material body. It will be finished. That is the nature. But if we keep to the Vani, to the words of the spiritual master, then we remain very fixed up. It doesn't matter. I just want to comment. This is exactly what I was saying. So if I've said anything which is not according to my guru's words, then I stand to be corrected. But opinion, that is not our business. My opinion is not valuable. But the words of our guru are important. And the people in this group, if you don't listen to the words, if you want to concoct, if you want to speculate, if you want to pretend you know, go ahead. That's exactly what Maya is.
Nanda Patni, would you like to continue next? And then Jivan Mukta, please.
Just about.
Just like Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Just like the Bhagavad Gita, it was spoken 5,000 years ago. But if you keep to the words of Krishna, then it's always fresh and guiding. Not that because Arjuna personally listened to Krishna about the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, therefore he knew it. That's not the fact. If you accept Bhagavad Gita as it is, then you should know that Krishna is present before you in his words in the Bhagavad Gita. This is called spiritual realization. It's not mundane historical incidences. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsaya vidu sakalenaha yoga nashta parandapa. If you don't keep in touch with the original link, then it'll be lost. And if you keep in touch with the original link, then you're directly hearing Krishna. Similarly, Krishna and Krishna's representative, spiritual master, if you keep always intact, in link with the words and instruction of the superior authorities, then you are always fresh. This is the spiritual understanding. Najayate namriyate vakajajin nitya shashvato yam purano, Bhagavad Gita 2:20. Purana means very old, just like Krishna, the Supreme Being. He must be very old because he's the original person. But the Brahma Samhita says that Vetratuta Nanda Rupam Adyam Purana Purusho Navayovanam Cha, Purana Purusha, the oldest person. But you'll find him Navayovanam Cha, always a fresh youth. That is God. God is not material, that it gets old. The body gets old. So,
Oh,
is that it? Am I done? Am I done?
I'm not sure. Was that 2 paragraphs?
Oh, I don't know.
Jiva Mukta Prabhu.
So you are hearing this philosophy daily. Try to understand more and more. We have got so many books, and this is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by disciplic succession, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then my spiritual master, then we are trying our level best. Similarly, you will also try your level best on the same principle. Then it will go on, same principle. It doesn't matter whether one is born in India or outside India. No, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Pritivite Acheyata Nagaradi Gram, as many towns and cities and villages are there, he did not say it to make a farce. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So sometimes I am very much criticized that I'm making foreigners a Brahmin. These caste Brahmins in India, they are very much against me. But this is not fact. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that all over the world his message will be broadcast, does it mean that it will be simply a cinema show? No. He wanted that everyone should become perfect Vaishnava. That is his purpose. It is not to make a farce, some lecturing or some mutual praising society. No, it is Krishna society. Everyone who will join this Krishna society movement, he is more than a Brahmin. Brahmin, what is Brahmin? Brahmin is also material. A devotee is more than Brahmin. The Brahminical culture is included already. Brahma Janati Brahmana. Brahman means one who knows the absolute truth, or the absolute truth, Brahman. He is Brahman. But that is not very fixed up. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. Brahman is impersonal effulgence. And then further progress, realization of the localized aspect, Paramatma, Antaryami, and finally understanding the Supreme Person, Krishna. Supreme Person, that is the final understanding.
Thank you. Next in line here, Bhavatrini, Pradyumna, and then Leela Manjari, and then Via. Bhavatrini?
Yes. Let me
So
see.
people cannot understand.
Okay. So people cannot understand how the supreme, the origin of everything, can be a person. That is their difficulty, because they are thinking, a person, God, how is it possible? God is great, and he is the creator of everything. How a person can do that? Yes, that is the Vedic version. Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of Brahman. He is the cause of super soul. So ordinary man cannot understand. Avajananti mam madhya. Oh, I'm sorry. Manasam tanum ashritam. Bhagavad Gita 9:11. It requires Krishna's grace to understand him. So, is that 2 paragraphs?
It was pretty short.
Okay. So try to receive Krishna's grace through the disciplic succession, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then you will understand everything. Yasha Devi Parabhaktir Yata Devi Tatagara. What was that? Upadeshamrita? I don't know what.
Shvetashvatara Upanishad.
Oh, Shweta. Okay. This is the process, Vedic process. One should have unflinching faith in God and spiritual master. Don't jump over God, crossing the spiritual master. Then it will be failure. You must go through. We are observing the Vyasa Puja ceremony, the birth anniversary of our Guru Maharaj. Why? We cannot understand Krishna without spiritual master. That is bogus. If anyone wants to understand Krishna jumping over the spiritual master, then immediately he becomes a bogus. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Guru Krishna Kripaya Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 19:151. That is Vedic conjunction. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashanena sevaya. Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Nobody can understand Krishna without going through his most confidential servant. This is the meaning of this, Vyasa Puja. You cannot surpass. If you think that you have become very learned and very advanced, now you can avoid the spiritual master and you understand Krishna. That is the bogus. That is the meaning of this Vyasa Puja ceremony. We should always pray Yasha Prasad, Bhagavat Prasad, Yasha Prasad. Only by the grace of the spiritual master we can achieve the grace or mercy of Krishna. This is the meaning of this Vyasa Puja offering, obeisances by Parampara system.
Thank you very much for coming, Shikarani, to Srila Prabhupada's Spiritual Masters Vyasa Puja or birthday ceremony today, appearance day. Would you like to read next, Shikarani? You've not read.
Sure, Prabhu. Yeah.
So you have taken?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just took it down. You guys
So you have taken. a very nice line of activities, spiritual activities. Of course, as far as
We just
possible,
said
we have
we're
tried
not
to give you.
accepting what is.
Excuse me, you have to mute. There's something going on.
I don't know if he added on. I wasn't able to read it.
Yeah, I have to mute. I'm sorry about that, everybody. Okay, good. Please continue, Shikarani.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So one second. Yeah. Of course, as far as possible, we have tried to give you instructions books, but remain always faithful to the spiritual master and try to understand Krishna. And if you simply understand Krishna, then your life is successful. Janma karma cha divyam me yo janari janati tatvata. The human life is meant for understanding Krishna. That is the perfection of life. Any other so-called understanding, that is simply waste of time, because we are under the grip of the material nature. You may be very learned scholar, you may be a fool. It doesn't matter. You are under the laws of material nature. So before finishing this small span of life, we have got this human form of life. It will be finished as the cats and dogs' life also finished. But if we try through the Guru and Vaishnava, then we can achieve in this life the full success, not failure like cats and dogs' life. That is the opportunity. So, as far as possible, we are trying to lead you in this line and you kindly follow. Then your life will be successful. That is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted to deliver these fallen souls, the conditioned souls rotting in this material world. So Krishna comes himself. Krishna sends his devotees. Krishna comes as devotee just to execute this mission to reclaim the fallen souls from the clutches of illusory energy, material world. Thank you very much.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
So I saved here Srila Prabhupada's prayer or poem that he wrote for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and I understand that it was the sixth one that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta liked the most, and he had it posted in his magazine called The Harmonist. So I'd like to sing that right now. That was recorded. It was written in 1935, and devotees that made up a group called Murari, which was Hasyagrami Prabhu and our god sister Naradi and our god brother Balabhadra Bhattacharya. I think a devotee named Janmashtami was in that group, and they recorded this. Adore ye on the happy day, blessed than heaven, sweeter than May, when he appeared at Puri, the holy place, my Lord and Master, his divine grace. Oh, my Master, the evangelic angel, give us thy light, light up thy candle, struggle for existence, a human race. The only hope is divine grace. Misled we are, all going astray. Save us, Lord, our fervent prayer. Wonder thy ways to turn our face. Adore thy feet, your divine grace. Forgotten Krishna, we fallen souls, paying most heavy the illusion's toll. Darkness all around, all untraced. The only hope is divine grace. message of service thou hast brought. A healthful life as Chaitanya ran, unknown to all, it's full of grace. That's your gift, your divine grace. Oh, here's Bhaktisiddhanta's favorite stanza by Srila Prabhupada. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity thou hast moved. This gives us life anew and fresh. Worship thy feet, your divine grace. Had you not come, who had told the message of Krishna, forceful and bold? That's your right, you have the mace. Save me a fallen, your divine grace. The line of service as drawn by you is pleasing and healthy like morning dew. The oldest of all, but in new dress, miracle done, your divine grace. What a beautiful poem from Srila Prabhupada. Wow. He was called.
Remember it? Wasn't it on an album? One of the albums that we used to sell.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, it was on the Murari album. Srila Prabhupada was called by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Kavi after he heard him.
I was going to say that. We used to sing it with a tune that Mahatma made up in 72.
Oh, well, I have to hear that.
Temple. I don't remember it. You'll have to ask Mahatma.
Okay, I will.
We were in a band at the LA Temple for the Sunday feast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I remember listening to that tape while we were on traveling Sankirtan. I would put on my earphones and fall asleep listening. It was just that song in particular is just so beautiful. The Marari band did such an incredible job interpreting it that way. It's so beautiful.
So one other thing that this is not complete by any means, but let's see. Okay, here it is. I pulled together a timeline for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that just gives a whole overview of his life in 50 points. If anyone would like to indulge in that. I was thinking maybe we could read, I don't know, like 5 points each or something like that.
Sure.
So let me see. How do I get us back here? Share screen.
Actually, one of the things that I also learned today was that Bhaktisiddhanta's disciples who went to Europe met with Hitler and Goebbels, I think it was.
Yes. Right. They had to run out of Germany. They almost got killed.
Really?
Yeah.
Sarananda was the only disciple, a German disciple, Ernst. God, I forget this. I just read this because the biography of Bhaktisaranga Maharaj, whose appearance is also today. If it's in the last few days, it's been like that. Bhaktisaranga was the gave Diksha initiation recommended by Srila Prabhupada to Pishima, Prabhupada's sister, our paternal auntie, spiritual auntie.
And also Srila Prabhupada was the president of Bhaktisiddhanta's math. He helped him found it, yeah.
He also helped found this devotee here is
Vishwakarma.
Vishwakarma is a little confused because Prabhupada established that Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti with his godbrother. And from Jhansi, he brought the Gauranga Mahaprabhu deity,
And
which is there still.
he
there.
also,
What
he also
confusion-
took
what
sannyas
confusion?
initiation from
What was the
Bhakti
confusion?
Prangana Keshava Maharaj.
What?
What confusion are you talking about?
You know, I'm thinking you're pretty insulting to the devotees here that what order of Srila Prabhupada has given you one specific order, but he also gave us the order to consult with Narayan Maharaj
And
No,
Bhakti
never.
and Bhakti
Sridhar
Rakshar Sridhar Maharaj.
No, he
Him
didn't.
considered
I
him
never said,
considered
why would you
I'm
accuse
talking
me
now.
of insulting
Talking now.
anybody?
I'm
I
talking
told the
now.
truth.
You're pretty.
Prabhu
Yeah,
is-
I'm talking now. I'm not saying you're not saying the truth, Prabhu. I'm saying you're going specifically to one letter, specifically written for you. I have
Well,
my
there's a lot
godbrother,
more other
who's a
letters.
lot senior than you, who was reading Bhaktivinoda Thakur's books while Prabhupada, and he told him so. Guru Das, you can ask him. Prabhupada never forbade him from doing that. So
Also,
what I'm saying is that there are orders, there are Prabhupadas and letters who have given a specific injunction or instruction to that devotee that sometimes we cannot expand to the rest of us. Now, he gave very specific orders in Vrindavan in 77 to consult with him. He also gave orders, he gave us also Sridhar Maharaj. He said, I consider him, they're letters. I mean, you should read these letters.
I've read all the
And-
letters, brother. I've read the letters to
I was
Rupa
actually
Nida.
there. But,
I've read the letters to other devotees. I've read extensively.
but why didn't you mention Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Prabhupada was very specific in dealing with his godbrothers. He told us not to associate with them.
But not with Narayan Maharaj wasn't his godbrother. And Bhakti Pragyan Kesava Maharaj, he was his godbrother. 1968, October, when he passes away, he got a letter and he asked, Krishna Kanti was a witness, and many others. Govinda Dasi was there too.
Follow them. All I'm
Govinda
saying
Dasi
is
was there too.
Prabhupada is our guru. That's
We're
as
not
simple as
saying
it
to
is.
I'm
follow
not
other
saying you're
people.
switching gurus. You need to understand the difference between, and there is no difference between a Shiksha Gurudev and a Diksha Gurudev.
There is
Prabhupada
a
was
big
both
difference.
for us.
There's a
Prabhupada,
big
for many of
difference.
us, was both. But if you read Rupa Goswami, you might not want to do that. But there are other godbrothers. So then you just swiping away all the Vrindavan Research Institute, which many of its books have been now translated and brought by Indradumna Swami and other godbrothers who are experts in Sanskrit.
Brother,
So we shouldn't read that. We shouldn't
listen,
read
let
that.
me say this. I studied the books extensively, my guru's books. And it's very clear to all of us that Prabhupada specifically wanted us to focus on him as Guru Tattva, not to wander
Excuse me, you
off
didn't mention.
speculation on what he should do or
I've been
shouldn't do
trying to say
instead of
this for a
just the
while.
consciousness.
Can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you a moment? You said we should read Prabhupada's books and you read a list and you left out Chaitanya Charitamrita. Are we not supposed to read that?
I didn't leave it out. Chaitanya Charitamrita.
No, you said
Srimad
teachings
Bhagavatam.
of Lord Chaitanya. Okay, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we listen to the audio almost every day, he tells us to read some of the books that you're saying not to read. And specifically the movie that he's referring to, he told Bhakti Pramod Puri not to discuss the Braj pastimes.
The
And
childhood past.
The childhood pastimes, and it was
attitude
specific.
enjoy.
They were trying to enjoy the pastimes. He specifically told me to read Krishna book. And also when I was in San Francisco in 73, he allowed us to read a book by Bhaktisiddhanta. And I forget the name of it, something Chaitanya's
Shikshamrita?
teachings.
Teachings, okay. Yeah.
Right. He
Chaitanya.
specifically told us to read that. And he actually had,
And throughout the books.
he had other books, and some people he would say, no, don't read Bhaktivinoda's books until you've read my books 7 times. Other people, he gave different instructions to. So I don't mind that you're giving us what you got in your letters, but you're insulting people and you're accusing them.
Where did I
of
insult
Changing
anyone?
gurus.
You're accusing them of
Because
not
basically
following
there is
Srila
a lack of
Prabhupada.
Siddhanta in your understanding, it seems like, because you think, oh, that people
You're
who
entitled
listen,
to that
that,
opinion, brother.
but
You're
people,
entitled to
you
that
just say that
opinion,
people,
but you're
you
not.
just
You're
talk
not a
about people having
disciple
other
of these
gurus.
You can't talk over each other. It has to be one or the other. Otherwise, it's just a garble.
Yeah, he's just, he wants to control the situation, so fine.
Yeah,
But I'm thinking very strongly that, it's an insult what he's, that how he uses that letter to put down people, put down devotees that he doesn't even know that the degree of advancement or not. And some of them are seniors to him, like Bhagavat Maharaj, like Jadurani Didi,
Like Indradumya.
like Indradumna Maharaj. And that funny, that movie that you mentioned, Tripurari is in that movie. Tripurari Maharaj is in that movie. And he made it, that was another supplement, but he like propagated that movie. And then he just later on, years later, he wrote how many books he wrote? How many books?
And he read
And if
all
he
the
was the
books.
director of Prabhupada not to read or write about anything else, then, what is he doing?
Excuse me for interrupting. Vani has had her hand up for a long time. Vani, would you like to say something, Vani? Vani, are you there?
Oh, Hare Krishna, how are
Hi.
you?
Thank you for
Hare
coming.
Krishna.
Oh, this is so wonderful. You brought me back to my childhood years and my teen years. This is just amazing because shortly after Prabhupada left his body, this is all we experienced I was at the Philadelphia Temple, and then the Philadelphia Temple disbanded. And so a big group of us were sent to Gita Nagari, and others to Lake Huntington, and others to New Vrindavan. And, at all of our Rath Yatras, there was just so much arguing and so much infighting among the Prabhupada disciples and the Sasvarup disciples and the Kirtananda disciples and Tamal Krishna and Jaya Pataka and on and on and on. And it's just this nonstop fighting. And during all this fighting, I'm in complete ecstasy because I just shipped out a box of Higher Taste, a box of Krishna books, a box of Nectar Devotion, 2 boxes of a variety of teachings of Lord Chaitanya on chanting. I mean, just so many wonderful original Prabhupada books. And so and then you close it out with Nardi and Hashi Grami, who I spent so much of my teenage years with in Atlanta. And Hashi Grami was the coolest guy. He was just so cool. And so anyway, I thought it was great. I'm having a great time. I'm so glad I connected with you, Gaura. So keep going out on Harinam. Let's just keep spreading the mission. We're all individuals. Ultimately, we're all individuals, which is why we have free will. But we just have to stay on the mission and read the books, go out and chant Hare Krishna and spread the love. So, Haribo.
Thank you for spreading your love, Vani. Thank you for spreading your love.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Vani.
Yeah, it's cool to, watching, because you all were, who I was raised with, so.
You were a Guru Kuli at that time, is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you go to Lake Huntington?
Oh, I've been to Lake Huntington so many times. I won't get into some of the stuff that Lakshmi Moni's daughters and I would do, but anyway, we were rascals, so it was great.
Yeah. Did I know you? I'm Baba Tarini.
Your name sounds really, really familiar. I was mainly at Gita Nagari. I kind of floated all
I
over
was
the
in-
place.
I was in Philadelphia in 79.
Oh,
And
cool.
then I was in Gitanagari in 81. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then our paths definitely crossed.
And I'm actually the first disciple of Srila Prabhupada from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, no kidding. How cool is that? Oh, our paths definitely
Right.
crossed more than once, I'm sure. I was one of the stupid kids. So,
Excuse me, Pradyumna Prabhu, you had your hand up a long time ago. Do you remember what it was you wanted to say? Are you still there? Or are you putting your kids to bed? Pradyumna Prabhu?
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't remember, but all I remember, I guess, is let me think. Well, I was just absorbed in what was going on right now, so. But I had my hand up. Oh yeah, it was about talking about the intimate rasas in public, and all I wanted to say is I don't measure up to you guys, but I think I can only speak from my own experience that whenever I've seen this, even though it seems esoteric and interesting and you can tell people just gobble it up, I still wasn't impressed, so you would go there and hear some kata from some people, like Prem Prayojan's a good example, somebody who'll just know so much verses and he'll talk like this and talk about Ujjvala Nilamani, but it's like doesn't taste the same, it's like it almost looks like a show to me. So that was my experience of that. It's like this is not really coming from a place of like where he's tasting that and he's realizing that and he's experiencing that. It's more just a show to impress his followers, so that's the impression I got of that. And I'm just speaking for myself here. So I totally agreed that these things should never be public, should never be publicized, even like we can see that even in Chaitanya Lila, where he would have an external consciousness and then he would have an internal consciousness, but he would go to a private place to experience his internal consciousness, like the Gambhira, for example. So he wouldn't speak about these things. So yeah, that was just my thoughts about that. And I don't remember exactly everything that was said, but I just wanted to share my experience that I didn't find that impressive when I saw that. So, the super soul, when Prabhupada's mood a little bit and, you can tell. And, this goes far, like I was in Mayapur complex, and, you get approached by all kinds of devotees there. And you have people saying, oh yeah, you got to learn how to cry for Krishna. And you won't learn that by reading Prabhupada's books, especially not if you read
Someone
Prabhupada's
said that
books.
to you?
Someone
They
said that to me in front of someone
Wow.
else, and the other person was so impressed. And I was like rejecting this person to the point where he was like, oh, I can teach you. I've been associating with sadhus here, and they taught me how to cry for Krishna, and I can teach you. And I was sitting there like, bruh, you're sitting in Prabhupada's headquarters, totally disrespecting. So I just left on the spot, saying I reject what you're saying. So this thing can go very far, and it's a very slippery slope. So there may be some elevated Vaishnavas that can be on that level, but in my experience, anybody who talks about it is just it's a show, it's just a show. So that's been my experience.
Does that mean we shouldn't read Krishna book with public?
Or the
Or Chaitanya
teachings, even
Charita.
teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the dialogue, Roy Ramananda Sambad. You
Or-
shouldn't read that.
And with,
or Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, where it's very,
I
very,
didn't say we
very,
shouldn't read that. I've been saying,
no,
I
in
just
Well,
said
I
public,
when
mean,
you
in
when you
public.
hear it
right.
discussed in public to, you know, a young
So
audience, this seems just like,
and now you're
Yeah.
rephrasing it.
No, I mean, yeah, you're rephrasing it, but it's all right. I understand where you're coming from. Nobody should speak anything that they haven't realized. At the same time, we go on Sankirtan and we explain from Prabhupada's books. We haven't realized. I mean, if we continue reading from A to Z, Srila Prabhupada, which we do, and we distribute his books. And we have been, I mean, that sang, there are many sanghas, and there are many types of many different levels of devotees, that's for sure. But Prabhupada was a specific, you know, if you want to extend the thing to someone like Bhakti Siddhar Raksha Dev Goswami Maharaj, who Prabhupada considered him his Shiksha Gurudev, that'll be insulting. That'll be an offense. The same as Srila Maharaj, who put a stop to Prem Prayojana. We witnessed to that.
He actually told
He
people
actually
not
told
to
him
hear
not to
from him.
hear from him. So, you know, you gotta, and then yes, I mean, you're gonna meet all kinds of people on devotees and like that. But I got brother of ours, Gaur Govinda Maharaj. They said that yes, you have to cry for Krishna, and that comes with advancement and following our spiritual master, not going outside of what he says. So Prabhupada called me at 10 o'clock at night, myself and my brother-in-law, and he said that is following the instructions of the spiritual master. That's why I'm successful. I haven't had association with my spiritual master, and he counted on his fingers about 10 times, but I follow his instructions. So if we start being picky about what instruction we want to use or not, and then
well,
chastise others
you know, you're
about
changing the subject now a little bit. All I was saying is that, you know, if Srila Prabhupada and if Bhaktisiddhanta didn't discuss these things in public, I don't think anyone should, and then pretend like they're followers.
Yeah, I totally agree. And but I'm saying, if what do you want to extend that to Prem Prayojana? That's fine. I'm just telling you that.
I just gave one example of my personal experience.
Yeah, but did you meet Narayan Maharaj, or did you meet? But
I don't understand. Go ahead.
I don't know why you keep talking about Narayan Maharaj. If you could just stop that, I'd appreciate it. You're offending me.
I would just like to go to before we.
That's so poisonous. That's so poisonous. You know, Gaura, you know, with a guest like this, that's so insulting to my God brothers and God sisters, to whom I have a lot of respect. I don't feel like taking part on you. I don't feel like even looking at your face, brother.
Shut your mouth.
Okay, I'm sorry that this is turning into what
Shut your mouth.
This is a very holy, auspicious day. I'd just like to read this last quote here, a significant one. December 3rd, 1936, out of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's life. Where's the sharing here? I'm trying to see where the share bar is. Shikarani, can you help me find the? Okay, there it is. I got it. December 3rd, 1936, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta asked his beloved disciple A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada to spread Lord Chaitanya's Nam Sankirtan movement to every corner of the globe. Bhaktisiddhanta answered a letter from his disciple Bhaktivedanta, who had asked how he could best serve his guru's mission. I am fully confident that you can explain in English our thoughts and arguments to the people who are not conversant with the languages of other members. This will do much good to yourself as well as your audience. I have every hope that you can turn yourself into a very good English preacher if you serve the mission to inculcate the novel impression to the people in general and philosophers of modern age and religiosity. So thank you so much to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur for giving Srila Prabhupada so much inspiration to save us, to come here at the age of 69. And many of us are that age now, so it's never too late to revive our inspiration to spread the Sankirtan movement. And I just wanted to end on a positive note on this holy occasion, and I'd like to thank everyone for your association this evening. Please accept my respectful obeisances. Vanchakalpa Krishna. Kitanang Pavnibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Nitai Gaura.